Hi, my name is Nancy Hogan, and I am your professor for CRIM 615, Nature of Crime. This class is usually the first class you take when you are starting your master's degree, and we will be discussing theories about crime, things that happen within society that complicate the matter. We're going to look at risk factors, protective factors, and predictors. Before we get into that, though, a little bit about myself. I have been at Ferris since 1997, and prior to that, I worked a year in Kentucky at Morehead State University. And it was surprising that all I wanted to do was go south, and so from Kentucky, I go north. But I've loved being at Ferris. I love the students, and we have such a great department, great colleagues to work with. I began my interest in criminal justice when I was in elementary school, watched a TV show called The Mod Squad that was I guess they would have been in their 20s at that time, three actors that were police officers but were considered like cool. And so I thought, isn't that neat that you could do the right thing and still be seen as cool? And I followed that up with, when I was in my teenage years, reading a book called Children in Trouble that was about children in detention centers. And so I thought I could save everybody. And so that's what led to my interest in criminal justice. I went to Gannon College and got my bachelor's in criminal justice and started working at the prison because there were no police departments hiring at the time. There was a hiring freeze. So I opted to go into corrections just to get my feet wet, thinking that I would switch, but then I stayed at the prison for my entire tenure. I started as a correctional officer. I worked with women, and then it became both women and men. And then I became a counselor where I worked with both the men and the women. And as I pursued my being a counselor, I decided to get my master's degree, and I got that at Mercyhurst College. And it was my professors that really were encouraging me to go on and get my doctorate. Meanwhile, I got promoted to working with and writing policy for HIV, which was relatively new. And that kind of opened my eyes to, I really like researching and reading about stuff that I really didn't know too much about. And so that really sparked me to then go on and get my doctorate at Arizona State University in Justice Studies, which is kind of a combination of criminal justice, sociology, and I would say philosophy. So that's a little bit about my academic. I do research all the time and publish, so it's always nice when my students actually read things that I have written. My areas usually have been workplace factors for corrections. And so when we're talking about correctional officer stress or correctional officer job satisfaction, if you Google those terms, you should see an article by myself and my colleagues. Finally, my personal, I'm married, and my husband, we met in prison. He worked at the prison and with me, and so no, he wasn't on parole. But that always is a conversation opener. Hey, we met in prison. I have three kids. Caitlin is in Mexico teaching algebra, geometry, and business math at a private American school. My middle son, Blaze, is in Florida, and he is working in the golf industry and trying to make it as a professional golfer. And then my youngest son, Shane, is currently attending Ferris. And they keep me busy. They also keep me broke. So that's why I keep on working. Anyways, I have 3 dogs and I enjoy doing home improvements. I like to golf. I play on a bocce team in the summer, and my happy place is at the beach, just sitting in the sun or wading in the water. So that's a little bit about me. As you go through the course, begin with Start Here and make sure that you read particularly the area important information for students. Under there's some videos that explain how to do your papers, resources that you can use that will help you, and then also some Ferris resources. Secondly, the other thing that is really important is that you make a copy, download and make a copy of the syllabus so that you can follow along. The whole class is set up by weeks, and so your readings need to be finished that day of that week. So it's always you're looking ahead of what you have to do. And if you have any questions, always feel free to email me. With the current situation, sometimes I won't be in my office. But if you email me, we can always call each other or have a Zoom, or answer your questions just through email. And I look forward to having you in this course, and thanks for listening.